Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Thriving Thursday. This is part of the UNILA celebration of International Women Day. My name is Chulu. I am the founder of Africana Woman, and this is my co-host today, and her name is Natasha. She is a third-year student in the School of Law, and we're so excited to be here today and to be discussing the topic of thriving as women. But first of all, we have to acknowledge the videos that have already been posted, or the lives already. We had Mrs. Mute, Josephine, Walia, Salome, Nkole, Dr. Mwansa, and Omega. Guys, it was so informative. It was amazing. If you have not caught those videos, please make sure you go to the page and watch them. You get a lot of information from them. So I just want to cover a few house rules, because I always like to just be on the same page when we're having a conversation. Okay, so the first thing is I would love for you guys to just share where you are listening from. So, just type it in the comments. Let us know where you are, whether you are learning long distance or whether you're on campus, whatever it is, just let us know in the comments where you are. So that's the first thing. Now, when we start the conversation, and if you like something that you hear, I would love for you to just type in the comments, yebo, yes. All right. Yeah, well, yes. Can we please just practice that? Okay, I see there's Muma Sinkala from London. I love this. Awesome. And then if you have any questions as we go along, please drop them in the comments, and we will try to get to them as much as possible. If we don't get to them on this live, it's okay. I will make sure that I go through in the comments and I will type an answer for you. But you can just leave your questions in the comments and we got you, okay? And then, listen, some things you may not agree with, and it's fine, but I'm just asking you that when we speak to each other, we speak respectfully, okay? So if there's something you don't agree with and you want to type in there and you're saying, okay, I don't agree with that, it's okay, but just let's all be very respectful of each other. And the final thing is that this is going to be a very honest, very open conversation. Like, we're going to get real. Not like real. Natasha, are we getting real?
Yes.
All right. Cool. Yeah. So please make sure you give us some grace and and just enjoy this. This is just a conversation. It's nothing stressful, so we're good. Okay. So the first thing that I'd like to say is, when it comes to leadership, one of the things that we need to realize is the first person that you need to lead as a person is yourself. Yeah. And that's why we put it, as we discuss this topic of thriving, we want to make it very real for you and not hypothetical, as in, oh no, this might be happening in these situations. No, we're making it very real. So we're telling you our own stories, our personal stories, and these are two different perspectives, right? So there's the student's perspective, and then there's the, I guess, working woman perspective, the older generation. I ain't that old, but it's okay. And we want to give you that contrast of what it means to, first of all, maybe not be thriving, and then what it means to thrive, okay? So Natasha's gonna start first. Natasha, please tell us your story. And I want you to start with, what is your family structure like?
Okay. So basically, first things first, I'm an only child, and I was practically raised by both my grandparents from my mother's side with support from my grandmother from my father's side. Mm-hmm. I lost my mom when I was 4 years old, and I lost my dad when I was 18 years old. So basically, my dad had to kill himself, sadly. I guess he had a lot of things that he had to deal with. So that basically made life extremely difficult, because growing up, knowing that dad is around, but then he wasn't actually present, was something that affected me infinitely more than I had expected it to, because I was always the bubbly child, the hyper one at school. So I couldn't be bringing out my issues. So I always just had to say, I'm a strong girl, I've got this. But then I was really, really hurting, and it started to really reflect in my life when I got to university.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I'm so sorry to, hear about, your mom passing away when you were very young, and then also your father, unfortunately taking his own life. Now, I would love for you to just tell us a bit more about what was your experience coming into university?
Well, first things first, I went to a single sex education school, so I was always surrounded by girls. And then when I got to the University of Lusaka, there were boys in my class. I didn't know how to act. It was just so overwhelming. And then I came into university at the same time, or the same year in which my dad died. So it was just a lot to take in. I didn't know how to relate with other people. I even started drinking at the time. Like, it was really bad. So now I had to juggle school and just literally breaking down when I was away from school. So it was very, very difficult. And finding myself was one thing that was extremely difficult, because I was either misunderstood and all sorts of negative things, honestly.
Mm, mm. So when you're saying that, the drinking got really bad, can you explain a bit more about that? Because I think, all of us have got different levels of what is bad and what is, so what does that actually mean?
Okay, so I literally started drinking a lot before I even came into university. So when I say I used to drink every day, Monday to Monday. I didn't want to face reality. I just wanted to be away from this world. So it was always, let me just get lit and forget about this. Let me just drink. So I used to drink. Like, it was really, really bad. It was really, really bad. I remember sometimes I would even come to class, and the only thing I'm thinking of is, you know what? I don't want to be here. This is too much. Let me just go get the bottle and just get over everything I'm going through. Because literally finding someone I could talk to who was in my age range was very difficult. So I just had to come off like I was so fine and I was okay. I had my life figured out. But I really didn't. And I could always just run to the bottle because I felt that was the best thing to do at the time.
Mm, mm. So, like you just mentioned your friends, and I want to know what type of dynamic did you have did you have with your friends? Like, you said that you found it difficult to find people to speak to. Why did you find it difficult? What type of things would you talk about instead?
Well, at school, when I was coming into school, first things first, I just had this attitude of, you know what, I don't need anyone. I'm just going to be minding my own business. So I didn't really have friends until the further semesters came into place. But I did have about 3 friends, and I would always just keep it school. It was always just school. But I did have friends who would tell me, "You're not okay. What's going on?" But like I said, I didn't want people to throw pity parties for me, so I wasn't so honest with what was going on. So I'll just say the basics and say I'm fine afterwards. And they had to believe it, so there was only so much they could do. But they did try to encourage me, but it just wasn't working because I wasn't being honest with them as well.
Yeah, yeah. So you are in your third year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So there must have been some sort of turnaround. Tell us about that process.
It was crazy. It was super, super crazy. I remember being in my first year usually comes easy for most people. So it started to get rough when I got to like first, second, and I had to manage my academics with my social life. And my social life, if I'm not drinking, then I'm probably in my room feeling sorry for myself and crying. So grades would be bad. But then, thanks to the school, I did have a lecturer, 1 or 2 lecturers that actually spoke to me. And I'll just also tell them briefly, like, oh no, things are like this, things are like that. So they actually helped encourage me. So I started to slowly build myself to say, okay, you know what, I can't constantly keep making excuses to say no. Let me just get lit. So I had to start getting a bit more responsible. Not that I've changed dramatically, like, oh, it just happened. baby steps, and hopefully I hope to get to where I want to get, because I'm still in the process even now.
I like that when you say baby steps. Is there anybody else that you think helped you in this process?
Well, in all honesty, I just have to be honest. You said this is an honest conversation.
Yes.
Yes, my boyfriend did help me. I have a boyfriend, just I'm in a relationship. He really did help me, because he would always be there to tell me this is not the way you should go. Because we were friends before, so from the time we met, he would always tell me this is not the way you're supposed to go. I'll get angry about it. No, you don't understand. You're just judging me. But then he constantly corrected me, and that has also helped me get through all of this. Also, my best friends came into school, so they equally were people I could look to and talk to, because they were present. And I also have another friend at the school, Natasha. She's also been there, plus my grandmother. So these are literally the people that have contributed to my development. So if you have boyfriends, they must help you in this life, because it gets hard. It gets hard.
But you know what? I think I would like to also just, commend you and your boyfriend actually for, you didn't have that great relationship with your father, and that father image, or the father is the first man, I guess, that you learn to love, and for him to be somebody who is so supportive and wants the best for you, I think that is so commendable. So if he watches this, brah, you're doing good.
It wasn't easy, because you just wake up one morning, you're angry, you're doing all sorts of things, and someone has to deal with the fact that you don't want to deal with your own demons. It's not easy. It's not the easiest thing. So I'm very, very grateful for the people that were with me when things were super, super rough, and those that are still with me now that things are getting better.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. But listen, I think I'll share my story. And, so much of what you said resonated with me. There's a lot of parallels that are there as well. And one of the things that I think stood out the most was I also grew up without my father. My parents divorced when I was very, very young, when I was still a baby, really. And, I grew up very angry, and basically I was looking for love, and I was looking in the wrong places. And instead of finding love, what I found was lust. And in my last year of university, I got pregnant with my son, and fortunately I did finish university and I graduated. I had my son, but I mean, that in itself was traumatizing, because I was so embarrassed, didn't want to be seen on campus, and it just felt very, very isolated. When I did finish university, I came out. I did not have a job. I was a single mother. The father wasn't supporting. I had such a bad attitude that my family didn't even want to deal with me. So I was kicked out, and I ended up squatting in my friend's home. And again, I had such a bad attitude. I was kicked out again. So, just being in that situation and being homeless. But you would think that, okay, this is the rock bottom. It's actually not. I found myself in a situation where I had been out clubbing, I had been, partying basically, and it was around 2 a.m. And I was in this neighborhood basically trying to find a taxi. I was walking by myself. And I got accosted by, this is 2 a.m. I got accosted by 3 guys. They stole my bag and they ran off. And I was just like confused. And then a few minutes later, 2 other men grabbed me and they held a knife to my neck, and then they raped me, right? So you would think that, okay, this is rock bottom, like, is she going to get help? No. What did I do instead? I decided that I was going to drown my sorrows in work, and I became a workaholic, right? So I started working, got the jobs, started rising in the ranks. I was manager of this, manager of that, and all of that. But eventually it came to a head. And what I found was I was in severe depression, the type of depression where you're stuck in bed and you can't move, you don't want to bath, you don't want to do anything, you're just stuck in bed. You don't want to eat, don't want to talk to anyone, just stuck in bed. That's the depression I found. Now, if you were looking at me from the outside, right, you would think that, oh no, she's good. She's got the job, she's got, the house, she's got the car and all of those things. So why would she need to be depressed? But listen, when you haven't dealt with all those things, all those traumas that are layered upon layer upon layer, it eventually catches up, right? So what I had to do is I had to make a choice. One, I took responsibility for my own actions. I took responsibility for the role I was playing in all of these things happening to me, and deciding not to be a victim anymore, but then to say that I want to make a change in my life. So what are the things that I need to do, right? So that was the first thing. And then I had to seek professional help. So I went to therapists, I went to counselors, and I am such a big advocate for mental health. I think it's so important. And I know sometimes we like to think, oh no, there are no counselors, there are no therapists out there, but they are there. And the session this morning, Dr. Mwansa was even said that on your campus, go and seek the help that you need. So stop making excuses. If you need to go to see a therapist, you need to talk to a counselor, that facility is there, and they will hold whatever information you put them in confidence, and not put it against you if you think that, oh, okay, no, I will be expelled or whatever for doing whatever actions that you're doing. No, they're there to help you. Okay. So I had to go and get that help. Then I also decided that, I really felt empty and hollow, and that's because I wasn't living in purpose. So I had to find out and go on a discovery of what is my purpose in this life. And just taking that journey, it wasn't a short one, it was quite a long journey. So, taking that journey has made me change my life completely. And, I'm so privileged that I can be here to talk to you, Natasha, and to talk to the audience as well, and be able to share my story and let you know that no matter what has happened to you, it should not define you. No matter what you've been through, you're not the only one. You are not alone. And there is somebody out there who can help you, somebody who can relate to you. So if my story can be a blessing to somebody, then I am so, so grateful. So that's my story in a nutshell.
That's a lot to take in. I don't even think if I had to go through all of those things, I would be here today. So I must commend you on that one. It's not easy.
Yeah. But I mean, you know what? Both of us have been through a lot, and we think that, when something happens, it would just go away with time. We've got layers upon layers of all these different traumas. In your case, first your mom died when you were 4, and for a girl to lose her mother at such a young age, that is huge. And then your father also committed suicide, and on top of that, he was an absentee father in the time that he was alive. So it's all these layers upon layers that we're not actually addressing, that come back and say hello, deal with me. But I think let's, from our own experiences, and today, right now, we can say that we are thriving. What are the top things you think that women need to take into consideration so as they can also thrive?
Well, firstly, I would say it's okay for women or for us to hurt, but then we're not supposed to stay in the hurt place or in the place that hurt us. So you're gonna feel pain, yes, feel it, but then don't dwell on it because it's going to bring you down. So no matter how bad it is, best you address it.
Yeah, that's so, so important. I think, when you're talking about all the emotions we experience, sometimes we want to pretend that we don't have those emotions. But I think it's so important that, like Natasha said, you have to feel it. You have to allow yourself to feel it. For me, I describe it as letting that emotion move out through you. So I always say this, me, I cry a lot. Like once a week, I'm gonna cry about something. So, but I'm allowing that to move out of my body, and then I can move on from whatever that pain is. So yes, it hurt me, but what are the things but after that, I can think about, okay, how do I move on from this? How do I, develop from whatever has happened? What are the lessons that I learned from that particular situation, So what else do you think, Natasha? What else does a woman need to take into consideration?
Okay, it's almost similar as the first one, but I would always say always address your past because it will always come up in the future in ways that are so bad you won't even know what hit you. You'll be thinking you're over it or you're okay, but then always address things honestly. If you've got people who hurt you, people you have hurt, go and speak to them so that in the future when they come in your life, it just doesn't come up in ways that you didn't expect it
to. Yeah. First of all, I love your wisdom. Like you, I love it. Like you have got so much wisdom, and I know that sometimes we think that, okay, we're going to graduate and then suddenly you get that job and suddenly everything is just going to be okay. But if you don't address it, guys, take it from me, I'm your perfect example. I'm 36 years old, and at 35, I was depressed. I had anxiety, and anxiety, what it looks like, it's literally you just start crying from nowhere. You're just shaking. Your heartbeat is beating so fast. All of these things are symptoms of the roots that you have not dealt with, the roots of your pain. Yeah. So you may think that you have pushed it away, but trust, it's still there and it needs to be addressed. Okay. Anything else?
Also, I would say it's important that you always believe in yourself and be honest with yourself first because you have you. So if you're going to lie to yourself, you honestly can't be honest with any other person. So honesty with oneself is very important, and always believe in yourselves because if you can't be your biggest fan, you will die when people don't clap for you.
Yeah. I always say that it is so, the worst thing that you can do is lie to yourself. Like, sure, you lie to other people, but when you lie to yourself, honest, that is the worst thing that you can do to yourself. You need to be honest. And sometimes when you look at your reflection and you don't like what you see, it's okay because you can always make a change starting from that moment. You can choose to make a change, right? So at first, acknowledge whatever the problem is, acknowledge what it is that you don't like, and then make steps to move into or make plans of who you want to become. Yeah? All right. Is there any other thing that women need to do to thrive?
I think this will be my last one. It's important that you seek help, like you had earlier mentioned. Seek help and don't be afraid of judgment. I mean, people will always talk whether you do good, whether you do bad. They'll always have something to say. So if you need help, you might as well just go and get it. Because at the end of the day, you're the biggest person who's going to be affected, and it ends up spreading out to those closest to you.
Yeah. Again, I cannot say it enough. I am such a big advocate for mental health, guys. Find it wherever you are find it wherever you will find it, so whether it's on campus, whether like Natasha, she's got her grandmother, she's got her boyfriend, she's got her best friends. These are the people, this is her circle, her inner circle of people who she can rely on, people that she can go and talk to. And in her low moments, these are people that she can count on. So I think just to add on to that, I would say that you shouldn't just talk to anybody. You need to be discerning of who you entrust your, I guess, your secrets, or, who you want to confide in. Don't just go to anyone. Yeah. So if you're not going to go to professional help, at least make sure that whoever you're going to speak to is somebody who is trustworthy, somebody who won't, go and broadcast it all over campus or whatever it is, but somebody who will also speak life. Not somebody who's going to come in and also now start adding to the negativeness. Make sure this is somebody who is going to pull out the positiveness, pull out all of the goodness that you need to get and receive on that particular day when you go to speak to them. Okay, so that is something that I would add to what Natasha said. So I guess, are there any questions in the audience? Natasha, do you have any other things that you would like to share on this particular topic of thriving?
I think the last thing, this should have literally been the first thing, is please, God is very, very real, and He is the first person you can actually go and cry to, because I don't know, there's just something about always putting God in everything that you do. I haven't had it easy at school. Sometimes I think I'm going to fail, but God has always seen me through, and that's literally my testimony as to how I've made it here. So let's always involve God in everything that we do.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree when you say, put God at the center. I remember when I was being raped and I was lying there, the person that I cried out to was God. And I said, if you want me to live through this day, then I just put everything to you and I trust you, and I've always had a great relationship with him, but that day I really knew that this is a God that saves, so I agree wholeheartedly that having that relationship with your creator, your maker, is so important, and it is your number one lifeline, literally. Your number one lifeline. Okay, so I'm just gonna read some comments here. So Muma says that there are many resources that are available to you to help you, and okay, she's suggesting some resources, which is like a podcast. I actually have a podcast which is called Africana Woman, with Chulu, so you can check it out wherever you listen to podcasts. And then she says Therapy for Black Girls is a very good podcast for women's mental health as well. So that's another one. Therapy for Black Girls is good for your mental health. Natasha, do you have any books that you can recommend, or maybe you have, I don't know, things that you listen to, or someone that you really inspires you and encourages you?
I'm a big fan of poetry, so there's maybe one poet I would recommend that people can go and listen to, or rather two. And I listen to Sully Bricks, and I also listen to Genetics. They are very, very good poets, and they've really, really helped me, because you speak to them, they minister into your life. Some of the things that they've said helped me move forward, because I remember to say, oh, okay, this person said this, they've been through that, they've made it, and I also apply it to my own life, and it has really helped me.
Yeah. I think definitely when we speak about, the creative arts, that's another way that you can express your emotions. A lot of times, maybe some people are not able to verbalize and speak what they are actually feeling, like really deep down inside. But when you tap into, whether it's singing or poems or writing, any of those things, those artistic forms, they really do help with they really do help you with expressing yourself. So I love that, you know, you have your poetry that helps you to articulate all the things that you've been through. Yeah. So just one more comment. There are also networks for women where women support each other. So you can find them. There's places where, you know, if you just search in Facebook, you'll find all different types of pages. And one is called So You Think You Can't Inspire. And there's so many more. So guys, we have come up to the end of our conversation. I hope you have learned something. I hope this conversation has blessed you. Natasha, any last words for the audience?
I'm just going to repeat myself. Please believe in yourselves and always believe you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
Amen. Amen. All right. Have a great afternoon and thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.